Ridgeside Canine, house pets to working dogs, obedience to protection. We do it all, multiple locations, whole bunch of police canine guys on the staff, whole bunch of veterans on the staff working together, esprit de corps, dedicated, motivated, enthusiastic. That's what we do, guys. Living on dogs and coffee. Save the drugs, we don't need them. Lots of coffee, lots of dogs, keeps the brain right. Anyway, Ridgeside Rants. We're going to bring these back, guys. We get a ton of questions. If you have a question you want to answer in a rant, a topic, it can be anything, man. I don't even care. It can be political. It can be about dogs. It can be about whatever. Let me know. We'll talk about it and throw it out there. Topic of today. Be careful. Caution. It's all good right up until it's not good. Let me explain what I mean.
Until it's not good. Let's just say you're outside. Let's just say it's real cold like it is right now, and all of a sudden the sun's about to drop. And maybe you thought it was okay at about 45 degrees, so you're wearing a sweater. Then the sun drops, and it drops to like 25 degrees. Well, now you got a problem, right? It was all good. You were fine. Right up until it wasn't good. And at that moment, you might die of hypothermia. So what do? You got to plan, right? If you know the cold weather is coming, what do? You wear a jacket. Underlayer, mid layer, heavy layer, whatever you do. When you know the cold is coming, you dress appropriately, right? Let's flip the script. Let's say you're outside, sunny day, clouds roll in. All of a sudden, next thing you know, clouds open up, you get flooded out here. It was all good. Right up until it's not good. And if it's cold, maybe you get hypothermia. And again, what happens? You die. So again, what do? You plan. You wear rain gear. You do these things. You plan for the weather because it's all good right up until it's not good. Let's say you're going for a drive, right? You got your truck, you got your Jeep, you got your old fast car, whatever it is you have. We've got to have trucks out here. We live in the mountains. But let's say you're getting ready to get in the truck and you're going for a drive. What is required? Fuel. What happens if you run out of fuel? It's all good right up until that exact precise moment when the engine requires one more drop of fuel and you don't have it. And then what happens? It's not good anymore. Let's just say you heat your house with wood. So all summer, all fall, even the spring of the following year, what do you have to do? You got to collect wood, save wood, stack wood, dry wood, and be ready to heat your house. If you don't do it, what happens? Cruising right along, you don't really need that wood stove. All of a sudden the temperature drops, and then guess what happens? It was all good right up until it's not good. Again, you freeze to death and die. So what do? You prepare. You do the necessary things in order to plan for an unknown or variable event. Again, it's all good right up until it's not good. So at some point here, you should be asking yourself, why is he talking about all this silly stuff that has nothing to do with anything? Because this is a dog training guy. This is a dog training company. Well, let me explain. See, this is what happens. We start dealing with these crazy dogs. We start dealing with these dogs that we teach to bite for a living. In this case, a dog that has bitten for a living. We start dealing with these dogs. We start teaching them all kinds of things. But number one thing we teach them, if we're doing it right, is that you can never lose. You can bite as hard as you want, and biting harder will always win. Some dogs do this genetically. Absolutely, right? Now, with these dogs, they're actually relatively safe, right? Until you activate, they're actually pretty docile, in my opinion. But a behavior dog, a dog with behavioral issues, a dog that comes in for behavior modification, this is a whole different animal. They're unpredictable. They are dangerous. A lot of times they'll feel like they're fighting for their life. Therefore, they will bite and fight as if their life is on the line. And this is where we got to remember, it's all good right up until it's not.
So what's this all mean? Why am I talking about clouds and rain and cars and gas and all this crazy stuff? Well, this is why, guys. When you're dealing with dogs, real behavioral issue dogs, dogs that have bitten, will bite, show the propensity to bite, forward, projected aggression, when you're dealing with these things, you've got to be careful. I'm not telling you to be afraid. I'm not telling you to work in fear. I'm not telling you to dress like the Marshmallow Man. However, let me educate you with a little story that happened to one of my best friends. Honest to God, true story. I would say his name, but he's still employed. But a lot of people that know me that'll watch this know the story, so tell me I'm lying if you want to. So, good friend of mine, third time canine handler, picks up his third Malinois. Again, very experienced, tons of street bites, tons of apprehensions, very good trainer, very, very good obedience guy. Picks up the third dog. The dog has already had street bites and is already conditioned that he's a pretty big badass, right? The reason my buddy got the dog, Sergeant moved out, still very, 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 very young dog. I'm not even 2 years old, just graduated school. They just quickly reassigned him. Brought the dog home, okay? Within 3 hours of the dog coming home, they're in the back, literally walking around. Literally, unprovoked incident, the dog launches. Why? Who knows why? The cloud blew over, the tree screeched. Who knows why? However, the dog launches. My buddy reacts to it, gives the dog the forearm, doesn't want to get hit in the chest, doesn't want to get hit in the stomach. This is a very dangerous situation if that happens. And this is a very, very, very real dog. Hits him square in the forearm, right? My buddy takes that bite. Immediately with the free hand comes under to get hold of the dog's throat. The dog, who's been popped, choked, and yanked prior and understood this game, unfortunately, immediately releases from the forearm, turns, and engulfs, envelops, crushes my friend's hand, okay? The dog, literally, my buddy was trying to beat him off, which I've been guilty of myself when a dog is not letting go of my arm. However, the best technique often is to shut up, be quiet, be calm, simply give an out command quietly. Most of the time, if you can relax, the dog will pop. The dog came off. Dog went right back into a foos, into a heel, took him right over, put him in a kennel, and straight to the hospital. So what happened? You say, oh, it's no big deal. I've been bit before. I've been bit a million times. I'm not afraid to get bit. I'm not afraid to have this happen. My buddy is on disability right now. Hasn't been back to work day in his life. Career-ending, career-changing incident over one bad hand bite. Okay? Crushed, broken bones, nerve damage, the whole 9 yards. He can no longer pull a trigger. His finger will no longer allow him to get that movement to pull a trigger from one accidental hand bite. Think about this for a minute. My buddy, though, has workers' comp, medical retirement, disability, all this stuff in his favor, right? So even though it's a career-ending, career-changing, disabling injury, he's okay. Now, why am I bringing this up? There's all kinds of stuff right now, man, on Facebook and YouTube. Dangerous stuff being shown by some dog trainers where dogs are physically biting trainers, coming up the leash and almost attacking them. And they're like taking these bites as if nothing bad is going to happen. And as you're building the dog, this is ludicrously crazy. Guys, wrong dog, wrong day. You're going to the ER with career-ending, disabling injuries. My first street bite, my dog Blitz went through the window, grabbed hold of a guy's forearm, ripped everything from here like a jigsaw in and up till the bones were exposed. $150,000 of skin grafts on that suspect while he sat in the county jail. Okay? He got released, overdosed on heroin and died. But this is one bite that lasted about 12 seconds. And it was $150,000. The guy was permanently disabled, permanently disfigured at that. Okay? This is serious stuff, man. So when you're showing this stuff on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, with these dogs getting street bites, two things are happening. The dog ain't biting for real. Soft-mouthed dog, maybe holding at the most, but it ain't biting. If you're not seeing blood and fat stuff ripple and spew everywhere, it's not real. Okay? I don't know what's going on, but it ain't real. Because even a little puppy, if they bite, is going to penetrate and blood's coming out. Teeth will always beat skin. Every time. No question about it. However, these are kind of like outliers that showed us. There's also very skilled dog trainers that are kind of pushing this whole thing about don't wear equipment, don't show fear, just grab the dog, and if you get bit, you get bit. That, I understand where they're coming from, but the problem is that they have a lot of viewers, right? So people watch this stuff and they think, oh, no fear, I'm just going to go over and grab the leash. Dog comes right to the leash and tags you. 99 times out of 100, you may be okay. But again, it's all good right until it's not good. Wrong dog, wrong day, life flight maybe, ER trip, you are disabled, disfigured, legitimately injured. And that's hoping the dog grabs a hold of your arm, your hand, something like that so you can still fight back. Dog gets a hold of your back, upper rear shoulder, back of your hamstring, you got a serious problem. A serious problem. So to encourage civilians, right, and other dog trainers not to be protective and wear protective equipment when necessary in order to get control of a dog is reckless. It's dangerous. Don't do it. Protect yourself. Protect your moneymakers. Guys, if you lose functionality in your hand, you can't train. If you can't work a leash, give food, push a button, hit a clicker, hold a whistle, control a dog, touch it. If you can't do any of these things because your hands are now crushed, it's a game changer. So all I'm saying is be cautious, be aware, because it's all good right up until it's not good. And anybody that says, I can take a bite, I've been bit 100 times. Anybody that's worked a canine has been bit. So stop acting like that's some big trophy, okay? I've been to the hospital 3 times. Who cares? It was 3 times that I read the dog wrong. It was 3 times that I should be embarrassed about. It's not bragging rights. It's not trophies. It means you messed up. But keep this in mind, because this is very, very serious stuff. It's all good right up until it's not good. So you can take 99 bites and be fine, right? Maybe leave them open, do nothing. Maybe put some duct tape on them, put some super glue over them, a little liquid Band-Aid, take 2 antibiotics. You're back on track, right? It's all good. We've all done it. My buddy been bit a whole bunch of times before. Again, 3rd Patrol Malinois. Been bit all kinds of times. And that one time, in that one moment, in that one night, bit him the wrong place in the hand. And he can no longer make a fist and no longer work his trigger finger. And he will now be permanently disabled, most likely on medical retirement. That's all still pending. But he was legitimately injured in the blink of an eye. Very experienced guy. If it can happen to him, I promise it can happen to anybody. And that's one story of many stories I know about a canine disabling, disfiguring, all kinds of stuff, man. It can happen in the blink of an eye. So never think that you're above that accident happening, because when it happens, you'll look back on that incident and go, if I only had some standoff, if I only had an object that I could have stuck in that dog's mouth, if I only had a pair of gloves on, if I only, and you remember me telling you it's all good right up until it's not good.